Hello and welcome to all of you, dear astrology friends. This is a video about Jupiter in Cancer. This transit is happening every 12 years. Jupiter changes sign every 12 years, and I'm going to talk about it, what it means for, in general, you could say, and then for each and every sign, what this energy is, what is the ingredient of Jupiter in Cancer for you in a specific area of your life. Now, first of all, let's get into the specifics, right? Because when is this going to happen? Approximately around the 9th to 10th of June of this year, of 2025, that is, up until approximately the 1st of July of 2026. So it's a small year, you could say, that Jupiter always stays in a sign. Approximately a year. So it has been 12 years ago when Jupiter was in Cancer. Now, it does have a retrograde phase as well. I'm going to mention that. So when at the 10th of June of this year, 2025, at 0 degrees of Cancer, it will go on and on and on up until the 12th of November of this year, of 2025. And it will be at 25 degrees of Cancer then. And then it goes into the retrograde phase up until approximately the 12th of March of 2026. So it will go back from 25 degrees of Cancer up until like 15 degrees of Cancer. And then it goes direct again. So on the 12th, 13th of March of 2026 up until the end of June of 2026, it will be also the last degrees of Cancer. So that's the specifics, But let's get back into this. When was the last time that this happened? Well, 12 years ago, approximately. The last time, I'm not really a fan of really going into the specifics of it. But because every year is different and we have different aspects to it and whatnot. But the flavor of Jupiter in Cancer, we saw that in 2013, and we also saw it then way back in 2001. And then if you even go further in 89. So you have some dates there where you will have that same amount of energy in a specific area of your life. But let's get into this. What is Jupiter in Cancer? What is the planet of Jupiter? And what does it mean when it is in Cancer? Because it's for all of us. We all have Cancer somewhere in our chart. So what does it mean? Well, Jupiter, we all know that it is a benefic, right? And it's a very positive planet. It's a planet that is associated with growth, with expansion, with purpose. And such an important word these days, isn't it? For younger people and for older people. But so where we find expansion, growth, spirituality, it is the ruler of Sagittarius. And it is also the ancient ruler of Pisces. So specifically, Sagittarius has more to do with foreign countries, the foreign lands, you could say, international affairs, religion, law, but also spirituality. The same for the 12th house, it's spirituality. It is associated Pisces in the 12th house, it is associated with empathy, with vision. It is associated with letting go so that a new beginning can start, and so on. It is associated with breaking through boundaries, you could say, having no boundaries. Now, if we know that that is the energy, what is Cancer all about? Because we're going to have that expansion, we're going to have that purpose in Cancerian kind of things. So Cancer is the 4th sign of the zodiac, and it is related to the moon. And Cancer is all about nurturing. It is the la mama of the zodiac, right? When you have these people, these people that and that they have a sun in Cancer, or a moon, or or even in this case Jupiter in Cancer, They really are those people who are very much when they see you as family or they are parts of your family, they are going to be nurturing you, taking care of you, making sure that you have comfort, making sure that you can grow in the best way possible, right? So, Cancer is really a sign of the coach as well. It wants things to nurture and to grow and to protect as well. You know, Cancerians are very big protectors of what they have and what they love. So we all are Cancerians or Cancer. The sign of Cancer is also associated with food, with real estate, with building, lands, with what else? With emotional well-being. So that is a comfort that I was talking about. With if you feel safe and if you feel nurtured, you are very easy or more easily willing to step into the land of that we don't know or the world that is unknown. We need safety to step into the unknown, or we need it, but not often it is always presented to us. So it's like the archetype of the moon is the mom, the sun is a father, and when we are nurtured and loved and taken care of, and it's not only the food, but also the shelter and comfy, nice, comfy energy, you know, that you belong and you are nurtured, you are loved because who you are, not because of what you do, but just because of who you are, and for your whole being, with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's, you know, the task of a mom, right? That is nurturing it. And it's typical when you put a child to school for the first time, you know, mom says goodbye. And, but when this is all in a healthy way, the child is ready to step away from mom and to explore the world, right? Which is going towards the sun sign in your chart. So the moon is a very important planet. Cancer is, of course, as every 12 planets, we all have it, but it's a very important planet because it's connected to our roots, where we are coming from, the family. You know, the fourth house is our roots, our family, our ancestry. Therefore, people who've got an emphasis on Cancer, they love their family mostly. They love where they're coming from. They feel very connected and rooted, and therefore they also love old things, for instance, antiques, or have an interest in building and real estate. You know, that's a typical, or hospitality as well, and specifically with Jupiter in Cancer, right? Because you find your purpose, Jupiter, in the sign of Cancer, which is the sign of protecting, nurturing, and making sure that you have a good time. So, so yes, this is a very a very protecting energy, a very, you could say, cocooning, beautiful energy that we are going into. And and this is really good news, Jupiter in Cancer, because Cancer, you know, planets, they have sometimes they are good in a certain sign and sometimes not so good. Now, Jupiter in Cancer loves to be in Cancer because it can be so expansive there as I told you, in the sign of you know, that loves to nurture. So Jupiter is very comfy and comfortable in the sign of the ideas of Jupiter, which is expansion and growth. They go very well with the sign of Cancer, who also wants just the best and the growth of their children. For instance, like a La Mama, they just want them to do better than themselves even. So that is already a very nice thing to know, that a planet goes, the Sagittarians around amongst you and also the Pisceans will feel this very strongly because it's their ruler, Jupiter, getting from the Gemini, where it is not so easy in, going into exaltation, where it feels good, where it can do its proper work. Again, this is not a good thing or a bad thing. I don't like to mention that, but this is a lot about how it's supposed to be, right? How it's supposed to be. Jupiter in Gemini can be wonderful as well, but it's going to be a little bit more alternative, right? Because it's doing expansion in a very different way. We just had Jupiter in Gemini trying to expand everything that has to do with communication, that has to do with the third house activity. I'm not going into that because that's where we're coming from, and that's already explained in other videos. But so we see that this Jupiter, it is in a good way, it is in a good sign, where it loves to be in. Let's put it in that way. There are no good signs or bad signs. But what about the other things going on with the bigger planets? Because that is I hear often now Geminis to me saying like, yeah, I watch videos about Jupiter in Gemini. I don't feel any of that. Of course, you don't have to astrology is very complex, that's first of all. But secondly, you have to see the bigger picture. Jupiter is not just in itself in Gemini. There's happening other things. And last year, there was a lot about this square between Jupiter and Saturn, which is the opposite, which is tension, which actually means I want to grow, I'm scared. I want to grow, Jupiter, I'm scared, and there's restrictions, Saturn, right? A square to Saturn. Now, is that going to be the same? What is going on here? Well, the good news is it's going to be totally different, and some good aspects there. But we're going to have that Jupiter square Saturn still going on for a couple of weeks in the beginning. But it's just a couple of weeks, not a year, not 2 years, but a couple of weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks. The first, you could say, and it's very simple, because when Jupiter enters Cancer at 0 degrees and then it goes into 1 degrees around and about the 10th of June of this year, where is going to bump into? Exactly, it's going to bump into a square to Saturn, because Saturn and also Neptune, but I'll get back to that in a minute. So this Jupiter in the first coming like 2 weeks of the following the 10th, right? So you could say like the whole month of June, right? You're going to have what we call Jupiter square Saturn. So, and Saturn in the sign of Aries, together with Neptune there. Now, so we're going to have, does that mean, when you have like, for instance, all people are going to feel this? Yes, absolutely. But specifically for the Cancerians, if you have like a personal planet in Cancer, like at 27 degrees of Cancer, it's not going to be for you that much, right? You're going to feel it a bit, right? But it's not going to be exactly, because this is all happening at 0 to 1 degree of Cancer, right? So it's only a very few amount of people who are going to feel this, and it's going as tension, which is going to be the Cancerians, the Capricorns, the opposition, and then the other two signs that are cardinal, which is Aries and Libra at 0 to 1 degree of Aries or Libra. So again, keep that in mind. It's very important that this contracting energy of this beautiful energy that I just described, it's only 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so don't panic. It's nothing like last year that Jupiter square Saturn was, way longer. You can compare it to that. So, but yes, between the 10th of June, just with the entrance of Jupiter into Cancer, it's going to already bump into the square of Saturn and Neptune. But then something else happens. Let me just first give the overview and then explain what this is. So, okay, that's June. That's like a start of expansion, but hold on. Don't hold your horses, so to speak, right? There is like something that needs to be solved. There is practicalities that need to be done, square with the Saturn. There's also this Saturn Neptune conjunction going on, which I'm not going into because I made a separate video of that. But in a nutshell, it's about we have dreams, but we have to be practical to make those dreams come true. It's the realist meeting the idealist and to kind of work together with that. The one cannot go with the other and the other way around, or there's going to be problems. And so we're going to have that expansion, but we will have to do the work and we will have to be realistic and at the same time keeping the dream. So that's a bit the message that we're having in a specific area of our lives. But then something amazing happens. Because around August and September time, up until like Jupiter will be around already 17 to 18 degrees of Cancer, August, September time, it's gonna trine what? Trine means beautiful energy. It's gonna trine the North Node in Pisces at 17, 18 degrees of Pisces. This is very, very beautiful. This is like, again, we are not having this contraction anymore and this battle between Saturn and Neptune and the practicalities and the idealism and whatnot and the slowing down of this expansion and whatnot. No, now we're having full-on expansion of Jupiter in Cancer with the North Node in Pisces in a beautiful, perfect trine. And that is going on between August and September. So the North Node is about our destiny. It's actually a bit Jupiter trining Jupiter. In Western astrology, the North Node has the flavor of Jupiter. It also wants to expand. The North Node wants to grow. It wants to, everything that is unknown. And if you embrace that, you're going to grow tremendously, right? Whether it is in an area of your life that has to do with, for instance, study, you're going to study so much, or it is work, you're going to have so much work, you're going to grow so fast, or money in your second house, you're going to grow with money. So these are windfalls. And because the North Node is there, which is our destiny, I don't like to call it very easily like, yeah, it's fated. I'm not an astrologer like that. I'm way too down to earth for that. But here I dare to say this is orchestrated, or this is like, you could say you reap what you've sown, for sure. And this is something that is ready, that is out there between these two houses of your chart where Jupiter lands into Cancer together with that trine to North Node in Pisces. Where is that in your chart? I'm going to have a look at it, because that is the area of life that's ready for expansion. Now, Pisces, of course, is about empathy. It's about growth. It's about the ability to let go and let God. It's a lot of trust. The North Node, if you have that in your chart, the North Node in Pisces, it shows that you can show those qualities by getting into the unknown, right? Because in the beginning of your life, this is just not going to be easy for you. But someone with North Node in Pisces is someone who will do well when they focus on spirituality, when they focus on oneness, when they focus on empathy, when they focus on trust, and knowing that all is well, that all is as it's supposed to be. So you see how this is all water houses, right? And water houses are the houses of emotions, where we get emotional support. So on a collective level, you could see that we're going to see a lot of purpose, and probably also peaks in, real estate, in everything that has to do with Cancer that I just mentioned, but also a lot to do with believing that you are a part of the whole, and spirituality will be a big part of that. And also the yin energy of the ability to let go. And because you do that, you kind of attract what is exactly for you. So this is very, and I'm recording this we are now today, 23rd of April. So it's definitely on a global level, a bit weird to say the least, right? Geopolitically. So to hear this and to see this in the chart, that is very, very important. Also, families, of course, with Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, families are going to be very, very important. Creating families, nurturing families, but also Jupiter, a planet of expansion and foreign in Cancer. You're also going to see that a lot of people will move, not all of them, of course, but a lot of people are going to move to different countries or make foreign countries their own countries. That's also a trend that you often see in charts when Jupiter is in Cancer, or Jupiter in the fourth house, for instance. That could mean that you go abroad and so on, and you have there the growth and the expansion that you need. And last but not least, because that's not everything. So we see here very much a shift around August, September time of very easy energy in general, of course. And then after that, around and about November, December time of 2025, what is happening? Well, Saturn and Neptune, who were before in Aries, are going to tiptoe back into Pisces. Neptune only around 29 degrees, but Saturn is going to back into Pisces 29, 28, 27, I think 25 degrees or something. Now, the very last degrees of Pisces. So Saturn and Neptune are going to be back in Pisces around the time of November, December. And guess who's going to be there? Jupiter then will be around 25 degrees of Cancer. So we're going to have a trine then with first, because Jupiter goes so much quicker than Saturn and Neptune. It's a bit weird, I know, but bear with me. So what first was a square between Jupiter and Saturn Neptune, because Saturn Neptune was then at the beginning of Aries and Jupiter at the beginning of Cancer. We're going to have now a trine between the same planets. So we're going to have Jupiter at 25 degrees of Cancer in November, December, trining Neptune and Saturn at the very end of Pisces. So what this shows is something beautiful here of that dream, making a dream come true, being practical, being idealistic at the same time. Don't be too practical. Don't be too fearful, because then you lose the dream. Don't dream too much, because then you lose reality. That thing is going to work. You could say it's going to all work out. That is actually what it is. Ooh, it's like, wow, this is because of the work that is done during these months. We're going to have the fruits of it quite soon. So people who've got planets in Scorpio, at the end of Scorpio, they're going to have what we call a big trine. That is very, very positive for sure. But I'll get to that when I'm going to talk about Scorpio. But all in all, it seems to me that there is an expansion, there is growth going on. Again, in these Pisces is a very important energy here, playing a big role as well, and which is about support, but support in what way? In a way that has to do with emotions, in the way that has to do with the things that is not so tangible, you could say, but we can make it very practical and real at the same time, right? So beautiful, very beautiful energy, and I hope that all of you can tap into that. So we're going to get into this, right? Where are we going to see this for each and of the 12 signs? And I'm going through it very quickly because it's areas of life, right? It's areas of life. It is very clear. And I'm going to talk about where this big growth is happening. Anyways, let's start with Aries. So Aries, you're going to have that growth, that Jupiter, in the fourth house. This is all about, the fourth house is your family. So it's the family, it's your home, it's real estate, it's your land or the land that you want to buy. It is your place of living. With Jupiter there, it's beautiful. It's also your emotions, right? having Jupiter passing there, except for those couple of weeks. Remember that I said in the beginning, after the 10th of June and a couple of weeks of June, you're going to feel a bit more tension because Saturn and Neptune in your sign, it's like a bit restrictive. It's almost like you want to grow and you have ideas about your life path, but you know, you have to work hard and so on. The only advice I can give you is to do the work, and to keep the dream. Whatever it is that you want to do in your life, because the first house is everything. It's a relationship, it's your work, it's your career path, it's everything. Now, the trine with the North Node that I was talking about, this beautiful energy, is with your 12th house. So, what is this all about? North Node in Pisces in your 12th house. This is all about growth of emotions, of the nurturing feeling, of real estate. Might be abroad, you living abroad. This is definitely a possibility and expanding because of that. On another level, it's like you investing in real estate. Could be that as well. Another thing is that you find purpose in, for instance, working from home. Jupiter in the 4th house, you feel good at home, you're working from home, and it's connected to faraway countries. It's connected to charity, for instance. Could be that as well. But whatever it is, on an emotional level, there is so much support. And I've seen it often that when there's a link with the 12th house, there's a link with the unseen worlds. So there's a lot of benefic, unseen energies that are supportive for you. So I don't like to talk too much about angels and whatnot, because, you know, I have a lot of Virgo in my chart, and, you know, what I can't see. But I know that that is not the truth. It's not the truth because you can't see it, that it's not there. But what I'm trying to say here is that, yes, you could feel more supported by angels, by energies that is not really tangible, but you very much feel it. So a lot of nurturing for you, for sure. Your family is growing, or you're having that capacity to do so. Beautiful. Taurians, this is happening in your 3rd house. So this Jupiter in Cancer happening in the 3rd house, the growth that is going on there. And the 3rd house is all about a skill, learning a skill, learning, you could say, something that you, that kind of going to expand you in a way. Right? Whether it is cooking, you know, Jupiter in Cancer, whether it is doing something that you love to do and that you love to learn, whatever it is, at any age. It can even be, you know, the learning that is going to make it happen that you are going more on a short trip, or you going to take a lot of short trips, that you are teaching, learning, doing classes, workshop, you giving them or you receiving them. Also, a lot of communication, a lot of PR, a lot of, if you have your own business, that could be a growth of it via. I hope you don't hear that sound too much. It's like, again, knocking on the wood. Knock on the wood, right? But there could be a growth also in relationships. And the relationships that are typical 3rd house are the relationships with brothers and sisters, siblings, neighbors, the neighborhood. So you could be really more around and about in that area. It's also very, and that is often forgotten, it gives you a positive mindset. It's like you're hungry for a positive mindset. The glass is half full. So specifically, if you had a bit of a rough time, this is very positive. Now, the trine of the North, so this is first in the beginning, there's a square to Saturn and Neptune in your 12th house. So what can hold you down a little bit in the beginning, in the first, you could say the month of June, it is that old patterns of yours that you need to address, right? And I talk about this in the monthly horoscopes as well. So address your blind spots, address what you want to suppress. Don't flight or fight or whatever, but see it and work with it. And if you're going to do that, particularly in June, wow, there's going to be a growth for you in your social circle, because this Jupiter in the third is trining the North Node in the 11th house, the house of friends, the house of gains, and the house of networking. So definitely, if you have a job in the and you're using the network, or your network is growing, fantastic. The social media is growing. Your income, if you're self-employed, this could mean growth of income, because Jupiter, the North Node, is in the 11th house, so the second from the 10th house, which means a growth through your career that you are self-employed by. So yes, and doing things in group, right? So, I mean, this combination, I think a lot of you Taurians will start group activities and workshops, and you can expect a lot of growth here. On other levels, this is growth in knowledge, communication, very, very lovely. And a lot of support, and a lot of new support, new friends as well, foreign friends, friends that are having this, you could say, spiritual friends as well. Gemini, this is happening in your second house, this growth. And so the second house is all about your money, it's all about your worth, and everyone likes it when Jupiter crosses the second house, because it's a financial house, and of course it gives security. It gives us stability when we have money, when we have resources, when it's not only just money, currencies, it's also, the resources that you have, your car, your computer, and so on. It's all second house, what you need to grow. I hope this knock stops, but it probably won't. I'm just thinking to move here. Oh, it stopped. And it begins again. Anyway, I hope you don't mind. This is not going to be in every single. I have found a solution for this, but not today yet. So I hope you don't mind. But Jupiter in the second house, growth of your confidence as well, growth of your money. And so you have an opportunity this year of really growing your resources. Growing your resources because of the money that you own yourself. So because it's what you do, because of the work that you do, it's like the confidence that you give to yourself. Not that you get from others, that's nice as well, but that's Jupiter in the 8th house. But it's because of your own efforts. So in the beginning, of course, it squares up to Saturn. This is annoying. I'm going to go into another room. Is that going to be smart? I don't know. Hang on there. I'm going on a ride. I hope you don't mind, dear astrology lovers, and especially Gemini, because this is not working, is it? Is that better here? I think it is. This is my bathroom, by the way. This is better, isn't it? I'm going to take a chair. If you have just 1 second. 1 second, don't go away. It's better here. Doing a video from the bathroom. I'm so sorry, but this is, we're flexible, aren't we? And you are a Gemini. So fast forward, and you can do that, of course. Welcome to my bathroom. Welcome to the bathroom. But let's continue. Yeah, you're getting an upgrade. This is an upgrade, right? From the other room to here, it's an upgrade. This is what you're gonna have. You're gonna have an upgrade financially. You're really, really having that opportunity. The square to Saturn, though, means that in the month of June, in the month of June, where it is your birthday. I know, you're going to have that square to the 11th house. So, which means that you have to stay practical with your goals and objectives and whatnot, because Saturn and Neptune are working hard in your 11th house. So, stay tuned for that and do the work there. But it's going to get the trine to the 10th house where the North Node is. So, of course, not every Gemini is working, but in general, this is massive growth because of career. This is growth because of career, because this is promotion. This is a new job. The best, they always say, I remember when I worked in the HR, the best thing you can do if you want to have more money is to go to another job where you have not 1% rise or 2% rise, but where you can do 10 to 20% rise or even more than that. Right? So a lot of Geminis will experience that for sure. These are the money houses, by the way, that are giving you a lot of nurturing, a lot of support. So Jupiter, of course, is also the ruler of your 7th house. So there's also support from other people, from romantic partner, business partner, you name it. Cancerians. This is, of course, it's all you. The spotlight is on you, and the introduction was for you. You're going to have Jupiter in your sign, and that happens every 12 years. So the last time that it did it was, or when that happened was in 2013. So you can look back at what you did in 2013, but again, remember, doesn't mean to say that it is the same. But what it means is that in the beginning of June, you will have some feeling of contraction with Saturn there and Neptune there in your 10th house. So it can mean that your job, your career demands quite some effort there. And that are parents as well, that you have to slow down in a way. But then that you can, once June is over, you have that Jupiter full on in your sign and trining the North Node in the 9th. Wow. That could mean the 9th house is a house of foreign countries. So I'm first thinking of doing projects abroad, living abroad, or buying real estate abroad is very good here. With these trines between your 1st house and your 9th house. If it has nothing to do with real estate, another possibility is teaching and learning. You going to college, you studying, you go into university, whatever. It can also mean you teach, or you getting, for your job, you have to travel or you have to teach in some sort of way. There is a lot of, having that North Node there in the 9th house is definitely about your mindset. That is becoming way more positive than you ever known. And a lot of trust that you have in the universe and in your surroundings. And that is very, very beautiful for sure. So it also rules your 6th house, right? Jupiter. So that's again day-to-day life, your health as well. Literally, you know, with Jupiter in the 1st house, so make sure that you're not expanding too much, if you know what I mean. But do some, good routine work. Your lifestyle can improve. Very, very nice. Leos, this is happening in your 12th house. Jupiter in the 12th house. It is often not understood because this is the 12th house is an unconscious house, and it's a house of that we don't know what is in there. It's the subconscious, yes, but if you have Jupiter there, it means that it gets purpose because you are understanding. And so the first couple of weeks at the end of June, you will feel a square to that Saturn, Neptune in your 9th house. So your belief system could really make it a little bit harsher for you and a little bit more challenging during those weeks. But after that, it's Jupiter full on at the 12th and trining the North Node in your 8th house in Pisces. Typically, what this could be is growth through expansion from real estate abroad. It could also mean from inheritances, taxes returns, investment that are returning, and that you kind of give to, what is it called? Volunteers work and so on. It also rules your fifth house, Jupiter. So it could also mean from investments where you have taken some sort of a risk in the past, because the fifth house is what we create as well. So that now there is growth here as well. But whatever it is, these are the emotional houses. So you can feel very, very much supported. So when you had a hard time lately, you can feel extremely supported by people who have passed away that were dear to you. For instance, you know, the 8th house, the 12th house. It's like you feel you are being guided. And I know this sounds not really down to earth, but it is. It is. It is very beautiful energy. Virgo, this is happening in your 11th house, and Virgo is a sextile to Cancer, so this is pretty nice for you, this expansion in your 11th house. Now, in the beginning, as I said, there is this square to Saturn and Neptune in your 8th house of money of other people, vulnerabilities, in fears of intimacy, fears of not having enough, fears of not trusting the world and others. So there could be that in the beginning. And with the 11th house is connected to goals for your future. Also friends and groups of people that you want to join or that you are joining. So there is growth here possible. The 11 and the 8, there's a big possibility of you, because of a business partner, investments, tax returns, inheritances. There is growth in goals, and there's growth in expansion of that. Also, the 11th house is when you have your own business. It's a financial house. So also growth if you have your own business, in the money that you gain from your business. If you're self-employed, big growth. And also because there was support of money, of others, or the value of others is gaining momentum here, and therefore you grow. A simple example could be that you have your own YouTube channel or Instagram or whatever, and this is growing because of people appreciating you and seeing you. Jupiter also, of course, rules your 7th house of relationships. So this is good indirectly for relationships as well. Because guess what? This Jupiter in the 11th trines the North Node in the 7th. So there's something destined about your connections, about your new ones and existing ones. So this could mean even friends become more than a friend, or if you're single, for instance, you get to know someone through the friend circle. It could mean someone foreign because of the North Node in the 7th house, or someone with at least giving you this opportunity to grow and to expand. Librans, this is happening in your 10th house, Jupiter in the 10th house. And because you are Libra, you are, and specifically the Librans that have planets between 0 and 2 degrees of Libra, they will feel that stress in the month of June, right? And that stress is very much relationship related, because Saturn and Neptune there in the 7th house. Now, remember, Saturn, Neptune in your 7th house. Check it out, the video about Saturn and Neptune. This is all about your relationships, the practicalities and the stabilities and whatnot, and also the ideal, making it true and working hard for it. And if you're doing that, you're going to really, really, really expand through this energy of how you see yourself in the public eye. Because Jupiter in the 10th, this is growth of your work. This is growth of your career. This is growth of your social status. This is growth also in an expansion in the relationship with your parents, that there is positivity there, more purpose there. And this Jupiter trines in the North Node in the 6th house in Pisces, which is also your day-to-day work. So a lot for you will be promotion, and if you have people who work for you, you could really benefit from new people that you hire, and where you have a lot of growth of your career. For instance, if it's not that, it's your day-to-day life. There is a lot more to it. And if you're not working, this is about your lifestyle. You're improving it. You're feeling a lot of purpose in doing day-to-day stuff. To do those little things, they go a long way. Scorpios, this is happening in Scorpios. Scorpio. Wow, this is amazing. And specifically, if you are a Scorpio who've got planets of 25 up until 29 degrees of Scorpio. The other Scorpios too, but they have it to the maximum, so to speak. And why is that? Because you will have what we call in astrology a grand trine around and about November, December time. That means that your sun or your moon or your ascendant, or even if you would watch this as your ruler, right? If it is in Scorpio, it's going to have a beautiful energy with this Jupiter in Cancer, and also a beautiful trine energy with the North Node in Pisces. So that is what we feel, what we call in astrology, it appears as luck, but of course it's from the past and from the things that already were worked for in another time or in another place. So, and it's in the fire houses. So it's your first house trining the ninth house, where this Jupiter is, where this expansion is of travel, publishing, writing, speaking, teaching, learning. You going to university, for instance, you going for the master degree, the bachelor degree. You going abroad, you doing business with international people, you and this North Node is in your fifth house, which is the house of your self-expression, which is the house of how you express yourself, what you love to do and enjoy in life, but also love, right? Children, love, and relationship. So there could be, for some of you, it's a new relationship. For some of you, that could be related to abroad or by traveling and meeting someone there. But whatever it is, it's very juicy, it's very positive, and it's also very much of the mindset that is growing. When people have Jupiter in the ninth house, I see a lot of people having an interest in the metaphysical side of life, having an understanding and the belief and the feeling the support almost of the universe, because the ninth house is the connection that we have with the universe, with God, with Allah, with you name it, right? With nature. Some people call it nature. And it also rules your second house, so which is your income and so on. So that all can have a knock-on effect on that big growth for you. But it's definitely juicyful, and definitely you will feel that this is it for most of you, particularly the ones of those later degrees, those last degrees. They have this expansion for sure when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to creativity and enjoyment. Sagittarians, this is your ruler, right? This is your ruler, Jupiter, and it's in the eighth house. So it's a bit of you could say, the eighth house, Scorpio house, the house of life and death. But always, I've seen it time and time again, that when Jupiter is in the eighth house, and it's in the sign of Cancer, that this is working for the better for the Sagittarians. Of course, the first part of June, not the first part, but June in particular, you still have that square to Saturn and Neptune in your fourth house. So unfortunately, yes, there could be like this tension here, this reality and ideal and reality between your fourth house of home, family, also real estate. So yes, I do think here when Jupiter is in the eighth, you can have money from other people, right? And people think of inheritances, and of course that's not a nice thing. But it's not only that, it's broader than that. It's tax returns, it's return on investments that you did, it's money from other people. So this is typically something that is life transforming. For sure, in June, you will feel that also, but in the long run, that is very supportive for you, right? I'm a Sagittarius rising, and I remember the last times when this went on, or like for instance, 2001. I was pregnant. I was getting pregnant. So, and I've seen that also very much when the ruler of the ascendant is in the eighth house. And this is the case for you now. So that life and that new life, right? That's an extreme example, but it's not always death. That's what I want to say here. There is life changing energies for sure, but it's very, you could almost say supportive at the same time, and particularly for growth of family, for growth of land, because of course you're going to have the North Node in the fourth house as well. And so a lot of you Sagittarians will have that interest to buy land, real estate, or sell it in some sort of way to be emotionally more stable. And that's the eighth house. It's emotional stability. And that's where you're going after. And whatever that means for you. Also, of course, is not only financial, this is the financial side, but it's also relationships. I've seen it many times when Jupiter goes into the eighth house that people, have a growth of intimacy in their relationship, and that they just had a relationship, and there is this energy of being seen, and in a very deep way, not only sexually, physically, but also mentally, emotionally. And that gives a richness and a juiciness that is super, super big, so to speak, and very expansive. It's also a growth of knowledge of the occult, of an interest in the occult, an interest in psychology, in the metaphysical side of life. That can give you a lot of this security. You know, the North Node in the fourth house wants you to focus on your emotional security, on feeling more secure because you are emotionally calmer, more peaceful. I think a lot of Sagittarians will go after their peace and find it, which is a beautiful thing for sure. Aquarians, Capricorns. So I almost forgot you Capricorns, but I didn't, did I? This is, of course, very important for you, Capricorns. You are a cardinal sign, and this is happening in your seventh house of relationships. So, and particularly the Capricorns will feel this very much, this tension in the beginning in June will be felt very much if you have Capricorn planets between 0 and 2 degrees. But in general, everyone will feel this. So you're going to have that Saturn, Neptune in your fourth house in June. So being realistic when it comes to your security, your emotional security, your home, your family. There could be some challenges there in the beginning, but then with this Jupiter in your seventh house of relationships, trining the third house where the North Node is, wow, this is getting social. If you are single, this could mean exactly a new relationship. And with someone who's very Jupiterian, who might be from another country or another culture, or at least a different background, but someone who's a bit of a mentor almost to you. And that trine to the third house really shows great communication here. And so you could be traveling a little bit more, like short trips, and communicating, learning, teaching, but a lot of social activities as well. For people who want to have a growth in their social media, this is amazing because the seventh house is also the public. You know, Jupiter in the seventh house is not only, oh, you're going to meet someone, it can also mean expansion in in other people, acquiring more clients, acquiring a business partner where you want to work with, and so on. So very beautiful energy on a social level, so to speak. So a lot of expansion there for sure. Aquarians, this is in your sixth house of your day-to-day life. You would say, oh, that's a bit boring, but it isn't, because the sixth house is those little things that we do every day, the routines that we do, the work that we do, keeping our health in order. And this is all expanding. When Jupiter, I remember when I had Jupiter in the sixth house, there was a growth of the astrology that I was doing. And I was doing it more and more, and every single day. That's Jupiter and finding purpose in it. I loved it. That's Jupiter in the sixth house. This is in the beginning, in June. It's squaring up to the third house where Saturn and Neptune is. So the way that you communicate, you have to be very careful. You have to be realistic, but at the same time, having a long-term plan and all of that. And if you keep that in check, you can grow financially very strongly this year. Because it's not only Jupiter in your sixth house of your day-to-day life, your work, you could earn more money through your work. It's also the North Node in the second house that it is trining. So the second house is your assets, your resources, you could say. Not really your assets, but your resources. Let's put it that way. It's your computer, it's your car, it's your money that is on in your bank account. You can grow this. You can grow this tremendously. You can get a promotion. You can shift jobs, and because of that, grow. And it is important to also. You could be in building your social, not your social, but your security, your financial security. You could really, really have a year where you said, and when you look back to it, that you say, oh, I was growing my financial security then. And that's beautiful. Last but not least, Pisceans, this is happening in your fifth house, right? There's a lot about going on in the sign of Pisces anyway, but this Jupiter is entering in your fifth house, where it is a fellow water sign as well. So there could be growth in fifth house stuff, which is the way that you enjoy yourself. And it's typically when people have those periods in their lives, and then Jupiter comes into the fifth, and they start to do a new hobby again, or they start to do a new hobby again. They start to do a new hobby. They have time again for the things to do that they love to do. And so it could mean a cooking course, for instance. It could also mean a new business that you're creating. You're creating a new business, a new project, children as well, or your children are going through a phase that is a growth phase for sure. Could be that as well. Whatever it is very expansive in that area of your life that has to do with the heart chakra, that has to do with the things that you love to do. And of course, although in the beginning of June, or you could say the whole month of June, in the beginning that this Jupiter enters Cancer, it's going to square up to Saturn and Neptune in your second house, because then Saturn and Neptune will be in Aries. So mind your finances and be very, very realistic. Also be having the dream, of course, but having the practicalities also for sure. If you're doing that, you can truly expand your own business. You can truly expand something that you love to do yourself, a project, or these hobbies of yours that you are loving to do. So, of course, the North Node is in your sign. And this is expansion of you. This is also expansion of your life purpose. A lot of Pisceans will find their purpose, finally, their creative purpose, their purpose of just how they are, that they add to the world when it comes to their energy, on an energetic level. A lot to give and a lot to enjoy as well. And so definitely very beautiful energy, dear Pisceans. This is also the ruler of your 10th house, Jupiter, because your 10th house is Sagittarius. So a lot of growth in work and career as well, or opportunities to say the least. Anyway, having said that, sorry for the shift of setup and the knocks that I hear all the time, but I hope, you could also focus on what I was saying. And thank you so much for all the support that I'm getting from you guys and girls and women and men. Anyway, thank you so much and see you next time. Bye bye.